The wake hit the paddleboard hard enough to throw Claire sideways. I heard the engine before I saw the wave. 1 second. She was standing on the blue and white board outside the rental dock, carbon paddle planted cleanly beside her. The next, the board rolled toward the pilings, and the back of her shoulder was headed straight for a submerged concrete footing. I stepped off the dock into cold water and caught her forearm. My other hand steadied the board. "Are you balanced?" Claire dropped to one knee, waited for the second wake to pass, then tested the deck beneath her. Yes. I let go. Only then. She pushed a wet strand of dark hair behind one ear and looked at the space I'd deliberately put between us. "My brother actually told you to watch me?" Daniel's exact words. A smile appeared. He didn't say how close. I looked toward the disappearing boat. He also forgot to mention incoming traffic. That sounds like Daniel. She planted the paddle again. The marina behind her looked peaceful in the summer sun. It wasn't. Claire had come home from the city because Morgan Marina was losing money. 2 weak seasons had left the family business carrying a commercial loan it could barely service, and Port Authority Inspector Thomas Hayes had given them 30 days to pass a full structural and commercial compliance inspection. Fail, and the operating permit was suspended. Lose the permit during peak summer, and the marina lost the revenue needed for its next loan payment. The property would move toward default. 29 days remained. Claire had already called every licensed dock contractor within 2 counties. Earliest full crew, 6 weeks. Cheapest complete rebuild, quote, more than $100,000. Their emergency reserve could cover engineering, materials, equipment rental, and selected specialty work. It could not cover that. An appeal wouldn't pause the inspection clock either. Daniel had asked me to stay for the month as temporary harbor safety captain because I held commercial sailing credentials and had spent 7 years commanding ocean-going vessels. I knew mooring systems, heavy weather, line handling, emergency procedure. I was not a structural engineer. That distinction was going to matter. An air horn sounded from the fuel pier. Claire looked over. Thomas Hayes stood beside Daniel with a clipboard under one arm. "Bad timing," I said. Claire paddled for shore. Hayes waited until she stepped onto the dock. "Ms. Morgan, Inspector, I found 3 additional deficiencies on the outer breakwater." Daniel rubbed the back of his neck. "We're already working through your April list, and these weren't visible in April." Hayes pointed toward the outer dock. 2 shackles have significant section loss. The south cleat line has movement beneath the deck. I also want a licensed engineer's assessment of the outer pilings. Claire took out her phone. Deadline? Unchanged? 29 days. Yes. If we meet everything, I renew the operating permit. And if we don't? Commercial operations stop until you do. No sneer, no threat, just procedure. That somehow made the deadline feel heavier. Claire asked, "What exactly do you require?" Hayes listed it. Stamped structural findings, repair specifications, material certifications, mooring inspection records, emergency equipment logs, final field verification. Claire typed every item. Hayes looked at me. "You are? Ryan Bennett, temporary harbor safety captain? Engineer? No. Licensed dock contractor? No. Then structural decisions go through someone who is." Agreed. His eyes held mine for a second. Then he closed the clipboard. 29 days. When his truck disappeared, Daniel exhaled. I liked him better when he was discussing rust. Claire looked toward the breakwater. "Who do we call?" I already had my phone out. "Maya Chen." Daniel blinked. "The engineer from Newport." "Same one." "Can we afford her?" Claire answered. "If we can't afford engineering, we definitely can't afford closing." That was the first moment I understood why Daniel had trusted her with the marina. No panic. No wishful thinking. Just the next problem. She opened her notes app. Ryan, safety scope, Daniel, every contractor quote an open purchase order in one folder. I'll rebuild the budget. I looked at her. "And Maya?" You call? Yes, ma'am. Claire narrowed her eyes. Don't start. I almost smiled. Maya arrived at 7 the next morning carrying a laser moisture meter, sounding hammer, and the expression of somebody who considered assumptions a personal insult. She walked the breakwater twice before speaking. Then she crouched beside the first exposed piling. Ryan, operationally, what worries you? Strong north wind. Current mooring setup is acceptable in normal summer weather, but I'd move larger transient boats inside until the repairs are complete. Maya nodded. Do that. Then she looked at Claire. Maintenance records? Claire held up a binder. Sorted by structure, date, and equipment category. Maya flipped through it. You built this overnight? I used to manage international logistics. Daniel pointed toward his sister. She likes tabs. Claire ignored him. For the next 4 hours, Maya separated inconvenience from danger. The corroded shackles needed replacement. The moving cleat had softened timber beneath one backing plate. The pilings were worse. 2 required reinforcement. 1 needed replacement. Daniel stared toward the water. Can we make the deadline? Maya stood. Yes. 1 word. Claire's stylus immediately moved again. Maya continued. But we stage the work. I design and certify structural repairs. Ryan manages operating safety and mooring systems. Licensed pile driving crew handles the replacement piling. Claire rotated her tablet. I'm building procurement now. Give me preferred material and approved substitutions separately. Maya looked at me. She always this fast? I've known her 36 hours. Claire said, 37. I checked my watch. She's right. Maya nodded. Dangerous. By lunch, our lanes were clear. Maya handled engineering. I handled seamanship and harbor operations. Daniel handled staff and rental continuity. Claire handled the system tying all of us together. Budget, vendors, serial numbers, lead times, permits, invoices, inspections. Then she placed another document in front of me. A statement of work. My name sat at the top. Temporary harbor safety management. Operational repair coordination. Daily rate. Insurance. Termination clause. I read the whole thing. Daniel invited me. The Marina employs you. Different? Very. She tapped the final section. You invoice us? I approve scope changes. Maya approves engineering decisions. Nobody owes anybody a favor. That line mattered. I signed. Claire signed beneath me. Parallel lanes, she said. Agreed. Daniel appeared with breakfast sandwiches. What did I miss? Claire held up the contract. I hired your friend properly. Daniel gave me a sandwich. She turns chaos into paperwork. Claire took hers. Someone has to. That became the first week. Maya's repair package arrived Tuesday. Claire had already found 3 chain suppliers. 1 met spec but couldn't deliver. 1 could deliver but would wreck the budget. Claire found a commercial yard 90 miles north, negotiated split shipping, and had the first load on site before sunset. I handled the Marina. Slip restrictions. Temporary mooring plans. Safety zones. Line inspections. Every morning at 6, a battered thermos of black coffee appeared on the navigation desk. By Friday, Claire had written on it in white paint marker. Captain's coffee, touch at own risk. I found her checking inventory. Threatening employees? Protecting operational assets. You considered drawing a skull? Yes. I approve. She smiled without looking up. The first real chemistry happened over a torque wrench. Claire was installing a new cleat assembly under Maya's stamped specification. I heard the timber complain before the wrench reached final load. Stop. She froze. I'm not over-torquing it. Not yet. Claire looked at me. I know how to use a wrench. I know. I moved industrial equipment across 3 continents. I know that too. Then why are you hovering? I held out the calibrated torque wrench, handle first. I'm not asking you to give me the job. I'm asking if you want the correct resistance point. Her expression changed. Barely. Show me. I stayed beside her rather than reaching around her. Steady pressure. Click means stop. Any timber movement before the click, back off. Claire pulled. Click. Nothing moved. She looked at the washer. Then me. No groan. No groan. Good? Good. Her smile stayed half a second longer than necessary. I reached for the next hardware bag. At the end of week 1, Hayes returned. He compared the new mooring hardware against Claire's certification log. Every number matched. He initialed the first section, acceptable. When his truck left, Daniel appeared carrying breakfast burritos. We passed something. Claire opened hers. One section. Still counts. Maya was on Claire's tablet. Where's mine? Daniel stared at the screen. You're 90 miles away. That sounds like a logistics problem. Claire pointed at him. She's right. For 10 minutes we had burritos, black coffee, and sunlight on the water. Then we went back to saving the Marina. The block and tackle happened during week 2. I noticed Claire switch hands 3 times while moving an outboard storage cradle. She never complained. The next morning, I rigged a rated pulley system from the service bay beam. When Claire arrived, she tested the rope. The engine lifted with half the effort. She looked across the bay. Ryan. Yes? You built this because of my wrist. I kept coiling line. I built it because somebody was lifting inefficiently. I was the only person lifting. Statistically, my statement remains accurate. Claire shook her head, but she used the pulley. That afternoon, clouds gathered over the hills. The temperature fell. I felt the wind shift before the weather alert arrived. Claire stood beside me with the rental manifest. Storm? Squall. How long? 20 minutes if we're lucky. I pointed toward the paddleboard launch. Close rentals. Account for every customer and every staff member. Daniel clears the fuel dock. Claire nodded and moved. No debate, no second guessing. I ran the slips. Double spring lines. Secure canvas. Move rental boats inward. 10 minutes later, Claire came over VHF. Harbor Safety Office. Go ahead. All rental craft accounted for. Last paddleboard returned. Daniel has fuel dock clear. Copy. Rain hit the lake like thrown gravel. Claire met me at the end of the service dock. Everyone is in. Gear shed. We made it inside as the wind slammed rain against the metal roof. The shed smelled of cedar, wet canvas, rope, and engine oil. Claire's hands were cold. I took a dry fleece jacket from the emergency rack. Use this. She took it. Thanks. Water began leaking above the side window. I pulled a tarp across the frame and secured it. Claire opened the incident log. Wind? 30, gusting higher. Next check? When it drops below 25. She wrote it down. No speeches, no metaphors. Just work. 30 minutes later, Daniel opened the shed door holding a pot. I made soup. Claire stared at him. You cooked? I heated. That is different. I added pepper. I looked at him. Reckless. He handed us paper cups of tomato soup. Claire sat on an overturned crate in my fleece. I stayed across the shed. Rain ticked against the roof. Halfway through the cup, she looked over. You get quieter when weather gets worse. Less useful talking. You already barely talk. Efficiency. Claire smiled into the cup. By week 3, the Marina looked different. The new piling was in. Reinforcement was finished. Mooring chains replaced. Cleat backing plates rebuilt. Emergency equipment logged. Claire's compliance binder had become 3 binders. Daniel called them the Book of Claire. Then Maya found the last structural problem. A diagonal brace near the outer corner had split around an old fastener. Daniel's face fell. How bad? Half a day, Maya said. Claire was already opening the budget. Inspection impact? I need Hayes to see the connection before access closes. Claire called him herself. He could come the next morning. We repaired it before sunset. Hayes inspected it at 9. He signed the structural progress box. Then he looked at the lake. The surface had darkened. "Gale watch." I saw it. I said. Hayes looked at Claire. "If the warning upgrades before final certification is filed, exposed sections may be temporarily closed until Maya confirms completed condition." Claire asked, "What avoids that?" "Maya's final certification, updated emergency plan, final mooring log. You'll have all three. If you do, we have no problem." He left. Daniel watched him go. I hate when he's reasonable. Why? Harder to complain. Maya certified the structure the next morning. Claire uploaded it at 11:10. Accepted by the Port Authority portal at noon. At 4, the gale warning upgraded. Hayes returned carrying a red temporary closure order. Claire read it. "You're closing us? Every exposed commercial marina in this section of the county from 6 tonight until the gale clears. That doesn't change our final inspection." "No. 3 days remained." Claire looked at me. "How fast can we secure?" "Public dock clear by 5. Rental fleet protected by 5:30. Staff off exposed structures by 6. Hayes added. "Stormwatch stays ashore unless there's a genuine emergency." Agreed. No heroics. Agreed. At 7, Claire put a new label on my thermos. No heroics. I held it up. "Hayes wrote this?" I improved his wording. "Hostile. Operational." The gale arrived after midnight. Daniel, Claire, and I stayed in the Marina office. Public access was closed. Every person stepping onto the secured operations platform wore a PFD. Claire ran VHF and incident logs. Daniel monitored shore cameras. I monitored loads. At 12:43, Harbor Master Lena Ortiz called on Channel 12. "North Inlet Marinas, municipal utility barge at Public Works berth, has parted one stern line. Crew responding." Claire wrote the time. 2 minutes later, Lena came back. "Utility barge fully separated. 52-foot steel platform drifting southbound. Private vessels remain clear." Claire looked at the chart. "That track puts it near us." "Near, not necessarily into us." I keyed the radio. "Harbor Master, Bennett at Morgan Marina. We have visual from South Breakwater. Standing by for range and bearing support." Copy, then county response launch underway. We did not launch our little skiff. We did not pretend a recreational boat could tow 50 feet of steel through 40-knot wind. We waited for the vessel built for the job. Headlights appeared on the service road. Maya came through the office door in rain gear. Claire stared. "What are you doing here?" County called. "If that barge hits my repaired breakwater, I'd like to know whether it survives." Daniel handed her a spare PFD. "Welcome." The county response launch appeared through the rain. 38 feet. Commercial tow post. Heavy fenders. Twin diesels. Lena Ortiz at the helm. "Bennett," she called over VHF. "I need local channel guidance." I checked the radar and wind. "If you take the leeward quarter, you can turn the barge toward the municipal Dolphin before it reaches the marina entrance. Can you come aboard?" I looked at Claire. She already had the incident board open. "Daniel monitors our structures," she said. "I keep VHF. Your abort point is the outer green marker. If Lena loses the barge before that, you disengage." Good. I grabbed my foul-weather jacket. Claire stopped me at the door long enough to hand me the black thermos. "Wrong beverage." I opened it. "Hot water." "For after—" I put it in the locker. Then went. Lena picked me up from the sheltered fuel pier. Her deckhand, Aaron Mills, handed me a helmet and gloves. "Plan?" "Leeward quarter, messenger line first. Heavy tow after the emergency bridle is seated. Nobody enters the snapback zone." Lena nodded. "Abort? If it yaws broadside before the line loads, release and reset." The barge emerged from the rain like a moving wall. Black steel, dead work lights, water curling around its corners. Lena matched speed. Aaron launched the messenger across the forward rail. Line paid out. Heavy tow followed. "Bridle seated!" Everyone cleared. Lena brought power on slowly. The tow line loaded. The barge resisted. For one awful second, nothing happened. Then its bow moved. 1 degree, 3, 5. Claire's voice came over VHF. Wind gust 41, municipal dolphin approach clear. Copy. Lena glanced at me. She's good. Yes. The response launch kept pressure on the tow. The barge turned away from the marina. Not quickly. Not dramatically. Correctly. 10 minutes later, the public works shore crew took the first heaving line at the reinforced dolphin. Then the heavy chain. 1 connection. 2. The steel platform settled against the fenders. Lena reduced power. We waited. The barge stayed. Secure, Aaron said. I keyed the radio. Morgan office, hazard secured, no contact with marina structures. Claire answered immediately. Copy 119 logged. I looked back. The marina lights were still standing in the rain. When Lena returned me, Claire waited inside the fuel pier gate. Inside the safety line. I stepped ashore. She checked my tether was clear. You're intact. So is the breakwater. That wasn't my question. A gust hit the roof. Claire stepped forward and hugged me. Brief. Certain. My hand settled at the center of her back. Then she stepped away first. Daniel appeared in the doorway. I looked at him. Say nothing. I said nothing. You were about to... I was thinking loudly. Claire pointed inside. Coffee. Yes, boss. We sat in the marina office with hot soup and black coffee while the gale rattled the windows. Maya reviewed the camera footage. Claire completed the incident log. I checked her timeline. Every transmission, every decision, every abort condition. Perfect. Good. I said. She leaned back. Daniel looked between us. I'm sleeping in this chair. Claire frowned. Who asked? I'm establishing boundaries. I threw a napkin at him. Claire laughed. The gale warning lifted at 7. Hayes arrived at 9. Normal clipboard. Normal inspection jacket. Maya met him at the gate. Claire carried the compliance binders. I carried nothing. This was the final inspection. Hayes started at the breakwater. Piling reinforcement. Replacement piling. Cap assembly. Fasteners. Maya answered structural questions. Then mooring hardware. My lane. Starboard shackle certification. Claire opened the binder. Tab 4. Hayes checked the number against the physical stamp. Match. Cleat backing plate. Tab 5. Match. Emergency ladders. Life rings. Fire extinguishers. Lighting. Fuel shutoff. Rental PFD inventory. VHF logs. Storm closure procedures. For almost 2 hours, Hayes worked through the list. No shortcut. At the end of the outer dock, he looked toward the municipal barge still secured across the inlet. That incident will be investigated separately. Claire nodded. I filed our statement with Harbor Master Ortiz. It isn't part of this permit review. Correct. He opened Maya's post-storm certification. No measurable movement? Maya answered. Within monitoring tolerance, structure passed my inspection at first light. Hayes read the final page, then reached the last box. Commercial operating permit, final compliance. He looked at Claire. Your documentation is unusually complete. Daniel whispered behind me, tabs. I elbowed him. Hayes signed, permit renewed through next season. Claire took the form. Thank you. The storm closure is lifted immediately. Daniel's breath left him. Hayes looked at me. Captain Bennett. Yes? Good decision waiting for the county tow vessel. I enjoy staying alive. Keep doing that. He left. The marina had passed. That was enough. Claire unlocked the rental gate at noon. A family waiting by the parking lot walked toward the paddleboard desk. Daniel turned the sign from closed to open. Maya held out her hand. This means you can pay my invoice. Daniel's happiness vanished. Eventually, Claire laughed. The repairs had cost just under $64,000. Engineering, specialty piling crew, materials, equipment. My harbor safety contract, paid from the emergency reserve Claire had protected. The marina stayed open through peak season. Bookings recovered. The next commercial loan payment cleared. No miracle, just solvency. Friday's harbor committee meeting closed the remaining loops. Lena Ortiz filed the municipal barge incident separately. Public Works received an independent mooring review. Maya confirmed Morgan Marina's structural certification. Hayes confirmed permit compliance. Daniel presented operating numbers. Claire presented the repair budget. Then committee chair Evelyn Price cleared her throat. One final item. Morgan Marina has requested approval for a permanent chief harbor master appointment. I looked at Daniel. He looked innocent. Badly. After the meeting, Claire found me outside. Brass keys hung from a blue floating lanyard in her hand. The committee approved the position. Daniel supported it. And you? I proposed it. She held out the keys. Office, main gate, fuel control, emergency locker. Full-time. Seasonal to start, salary, housing allowance, benefits contribution, 6-month review. I took the keys. Cool brass settled into my palm. I'm reviewing the contract. Claire smiled. I'd worry if you didn't. Then I'm interested. Good. Professional decision. Finished? Separate. Daniel appeared beside me. You're staying. I'm negotiating. You are exhausting. You asked me to come. I asked you to watch my sister on a paddleboard. Your scope was unclear. He laughed. The romantic conversation happened the next evening. Same paddleboard launch. Calm lake. Golden light. Claire stood beside 2 boards with a carbon paddle in one hand. My black thermos sat on the dock. The brass keys rested beside it. I walked down the ramp. Daniel send you out again? No. She pushed the second board toward me. He isn't asking you to watch me this time. Good. I am. I looked at her. For safety? No. That got my attention. Claire rested the paddle across the board. The harbor master offer is business. I know. This isn't... She held my gaze. Dinner Friday and with me as my date. No committee. No contract. No crisis. No ambiguity. 7? 7. Her smile returned. The one from the first afternoon. She tapped her paddle against mine. Coming? You want me on the water? Yes. Daniel specifically told me to watch you. He still didn't say how close. I stepped onto the second board. Claire laughed. We paddled beyond the launch. Easy pace. Flat water. No alarms. No inspection checklists. When we reached the mouth of the inlet, Claire slowed. I matched her. She reached across the small gap between the boards. Her fingers found mine for 1 second, then returned to the paddle before either of us lost balance. Safe. Simple. Chosen. 3 months later, I was still there. My harbor master contract took 2 rounds of negotiation. Daniel claimed I had negotiated against my own happiness. Claire informed him happiness was not a compensation category. Maya stayed on annual structural review. Hayes still inspected aggressively. That was fine. The marina gave him less to find. The emergency reserve began rebuilding from summer revenue. The commercial loan stayed current. Claire returned to logistics consulting part-time while keeping the marina's procurement and operating budget under her control. And every morning at 6, black coffee appeared beside the navigation desk. The thermos label changed once more. Captain's coffee, still not yours, Daniel. Near the end of summer, I walked down to the paddleboard launch with the brass keys in my pocket. Claire was already on the lake. She looked over. You're late. It's 6:02. Unprofessional. I'll file a report. She paddled closer. The board rocked gently. No wake. No concrete footing. No emergency. I stopped at the dock. Need me to watch you? Claire smiled. No. Then she held out another paddle. I need you to come with me. I took it. Cold water closed around my ankles as I pushed the board free. Behind us, the cleats held. The breakwater stood straight. The marina was open. And this time, when Claire paddled beside me, neither of us needed a crisis to explain why we stayed close. The end. Closing thoughts. What stayed with me wasn't the storm. It was that after the marina was safe, Claire still handed me a key and asked me to stay. The green flag was simple. She trusted my seamanship. I trusted her decisions, and neither of us had to surrender control to build something together. Please like and subscribe so we can share more stories like this.